Alright, so in this video I'm going to go over how to flash or update your firmware on an external ELRS transmitter module like this one here. This happens to be attached to a modified FlySky controller, but doesn't really matter what it's attached to. If you have an external module and you want to update the firmware on that external module, this video is going to show you how to do that. Okay. So nearly all the external modules that I'm aware of should have a USB port of some type. We see a USB-C here on the bottom. Okay. And so to update this module, we're going to plug it into the computer with USB-C to start out with. Okay. We don't necessarily have to have our radio on usually. The USB power should be enough. Though if you have issues, you may need to turn on your radio power to get this to power up correctly. Mine says no handset, and that's because my radio is not turned on right now. All right, so there's our module plugged into the computer. Okay, we're going to flip over to the Express LRS configurator. And we're going to use the latest firmware. So in my case, it's 3.3.0 when I'm recording this. So we'll leave that there. Our target, we're going to go and find this module. This one happens to be from a company called Jumper. There we go, Jumper 2.4 gigahertz. The device here is the AION Nano TX, which is right here. Okay. In this case, we're going to flash it via UART, which is basically the USB connection. You can flash via Wi-Fi, okay, but I'm just going to do it over the USB cable since that's typically more reliable. I guess we'll see. Just realize that if you don't appropriately select this here, it may not work. Like if you're going to try to flash it over Wi-Fi, don't use the UART button and then try to use the UART generated firmware, if that makes sense. If you're going to do Wi-Fi, make sure you select Wi-Fi. Okay, down here we'll leave everything else the same. We have our ISM domain because we're in the United States. We put our bind phrase in for the module. Okay, and everything else at the default is fine. All right. I'm going to go to manual device selection. I should see a COM port. In this case, I see COM25, so that looks good. Okay, and we're just going to say flash. And just like it does with other things we flash, it will kind of go through and compile the firmware, hopefully connect to the transmit module. Looks like it's writing the firmware here. Percentages wise, it's going across the board there. Let's see if that works. And almost there. Okay. Once this is finished, your transmitter module will be flashed, right? The only other step you need to do is maybe download the Lewis script. Okay, there we go, success, awesome. It says it reminds you to update the Lewis script. Okay, I showed you how to do that in a different video. I'll do it again real quick here. But basically we flashed the transmit module, so that's great. We can go back here now. Let's go back over to the .cam. And you can see it's kind of reset. It rebooted itself. Now it says no handset again. Okay, but if we press on, this one happens to have a button. We can go here and we can go through the menus and stuff like that. Okay, it's working. It's all looking good. All right. If you're going to update your Lewis script, you will do that typically on these other radios. Like these ones here that have an SD card. This FlySky radio is a bit of an anomaly. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how to update the Lewis script on the TX12 because this one is the normal setup. This FlySky modification is not standard. Okay, but we have updated our transmitter module there, and now we can go ahead and flip over to the Lewis script update. Okay, so let's turn this off here. In the Express LRS configurator, you can hit it download Lewis script here, or after you flash, like we saw there. I'm just going to hit download Lewis script here. Okay, and actually I need to change to the display capture so you guys can see the pop-ups. Okay, let's try that. There we go. Okay, so in our Express LRS configurator, we hit download Lewis script. It's going to pop up with a little window. It says, where do you want to save it? ELRS v3.lua. I've already saved one from another video I made yesterday. We could save that into our downloads pretty easily. Okay, and then we know where it's at. All right, then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. Let's switch over here to our TX12 so I can show you this interface. Okay, what you'll do then is you will plug in your radio, whether it's a TX12 or Zora or whatever it is. Once it's turned on, you're going to plug in the top USB port if it's a Radio Master, and you get this option down here. Joystick, storage, or serial. We're going to go to storage. Select that. And what should happen basically is your computer will now recognize the SD card inside the radio as like a USB, like a flash drive or something like that. Okay, so let's go back over to that. If I go to my file explorer here, we can see on my computer, down here to my PC, we see a little flash drive. Okay, inside that flash drive, we have all these folders, and those are all folders that are on my radio. If I go into the scripts folder, we'll see scripts and we'll see tools. Okay, in here we see the Express LRS tool we commonly use on a radio. Now, I already have ELRS V3 in here, but if you had V2, it was an older version or something like that, you'd want to update it. If you're already on V3, you don't need to update this just because you update the firmware. The Lua scripts, at least at the time of recording this video, just correspond to major release numbers. So 3.0, 3.1, 3.2, 3.3 are all going to use the V3 Lua. Okay, so if you already have a V3, you don't need to update to a new V3. At time of recording this video, that's the way it works, I understand. So if you do need to update, then you would erase your V2 scripts, okay? And you would go to your downloads, get that new V3 script, and Control C to copy it. Okay, I'm going to go back over here to my USB drive, go to scripts, and then tools, and we would Control V or paste it right into here, and that would update our Lua script on our radio. That's all you have to do is copy it in there, and then you would unplug from the computer. So go back over here, unplug from the computer once you've copied it over. Okay. You can then go into your system menu and use your script just like you always have, okay, or like you have before. But now it would be the newer version because we updated our Express LRS module in our radio. Okay, so that's how you update one of these external modules. It's pretty easy. Just make sure you update the module and update your script. Okay, and the process is pretty straightforward. I hope that helps if you have an external module you're using. Thanks.